Hey, everyone. I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. If you are brand new to Mental Health Moment, we are here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, welcome back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. And for those of you who are tuning into the replay on Dr. Nekeshia Hammond YouTube page, be sure to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the page. So welcome. Thanks for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Going to share a couple of quick announcements with you all. And I do apologize today. Yes, normally we start around 8 p.m. for Mental Health Moment, but today has been a bit hectic. Had a recent loss in the family, and yeah, it's been a hectic week actually. But nonetheless, we're here. Starting a little later today, but it's all good. So let me get that announcement for you all. Let me make sure. I just want to make sure I have the right date. Oops, let me go to Instagram. Okay, so and thanks folks for starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with Mental Health Moment. Let me know in the chat where you are tuning in from today. Hopefully I can see the chat at some point because I never know with our technology, of course. Okay, so and I'll put it in the chat also for Facebook and YouTube, and I apologize for LinkedIn. I don't know why this platform does not let me put the comments in there for LinkedIn. But nonetheless, the Gathering 2026, July 23rd through 25th in Tampa. I will be speaking at that event. It's going to be an amazing event. It's hosted by Bishop M.B. Jefferson, Dr. Brenda Jefferson, and Bishop Designate Calvin Jefferson. So it's going to be a really fantastic event. Super excited to be there. There will be spiritual leaders there. There will be people with different levels of expertise in different areas. There'll be people sharing their journeys, their stories. I feel like it's going to be inspirational, but also educational. And there's a community of people that are really going to be outstanding leaders. And it's just a chance for us to really get together and be in community with each other as well. So it's going to be a great event. I'm going to post it. I'll put it here in the chat. WAF as in Frank international.org is where you can go to register. And I'm going to put it in this chat here. If you would like to come in. There we go. Okay, cool. And hopefully you guys can see the chat and let me know where you're tuning in from. Can't see the comments yet. I don't know why sometimes my comments like to not come in until like later on in the broadcast or something. But hopefully, like I said, they'll pop up here. Okay, so that's my announcement. There's also there's one more event. Hold on. Let me get the website for that one. There's one more place that I will be speaking at. I'm going to put this also in the chat. Okay, I have to get that done. Hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining here. I'm so glad I can actually see your some comments are trickling in. But the first, if you're just tuning in, I was just giving a couple quick announcements here at some places I'll be speaking at coming up. The next place is in Tampa, and it is at the Gathering 2026, July 25th through the 23rd through the 25th. And then the other event I'll be speaking at is called Mind Masters. It's actually for youth, middle school youth. And this is being presented by the Vincent Jackson Family Foundation. And so I'm going to put that website in here. If you know any youth in the Tampa, this is also in Tampa Bay. Here we go. That is, let me give you that date. That will be August 29th. August 29th. Error occurred. Okay. I don't know what's happening. August, I think it went through for Facebook and YouTube. Sorry. August 29th, 2026. So sorry if you're watching this video after that date. But those are the two events coming up that I will be speaking at that are open to the public. So of course I always invite you all to that. And hopefully you can see it in the comments also. Oh, thank you. Someone said, I miss seeing you. Congrats on all your speaking engagements. Thank you very much. I'm honored. It's complete honor to be in community. I love being community of people and meeting people and getting to know people and hopefully transforming some lives, which is very important. Mississippi's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. I can actually start to see your comments coming in, which is nice. I always like seeing you guys' comments. So yeah, so keep letting me know where you're tuning in from. If you're brand new to Mental Health Moment is all about how do you work on becoming the best version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. So I reside in the Tampa Bay area, but am normally running around somewhere or another. Like we mentioned before, just doing something, usually community related, which I enjoy. But nonetheless, welcome to Mental Health Moments. Again, we're here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here live. And for today's Mental Health Moment, I really wanted to do a mid-year mental health check-in with you all. Because if you're not new to Mental Health Moment, you know that I stress very often how important it is to do a check-in, right? But I know that's not hopefully it's not the first time that you've heard that, to check in with yourself. But this is a reminder today. And also I'm going to give you a couple of tips of things you can think about as you're checking in with yourself. Because again, here we are, which is crazy, you all. I can't believe we're almost at the end of like 6 months of the year, which is crazy. Or maybe you're watching this later when we're in December or something. But right now, today, we're like halfway through the year, which is totally insane to me. But let me know in the chat, what is one word that you would describe for the first half of your year so far, right? So there's no right or wrong answers, of course. But one word that you would, I'm chuckling because I'm thinking of the word myself for this beginning of the year. But one word that you would describe for the first half of your year. So between January, February, March, April, May, here we are in June, almost end of June. What is one word that you would use? And let me know in the chat. I always love reading you all's comments. Oh, thank you. And so, uh, if I gosh, there's so many words actually. Man, okay, well I'm gonna let y'all. I was thinking for myself too. There's so many words that I would say, but choose one because I know for some of you all, it might be different words. I can think of like probably three, and I'm like, dang, I got to try to narrow it down to one. But somebody said reclaim. Ooh, that's powerful. I really love that word. I love reclaim because there's just life just life sometimes, right? So when you maybe we talked a lot actually this year about what season you're in. If you're in a yes season, no season, in case you missed some of those, you can always catch all the replays on Dr. Nekeshia Hammond YouTube page. Um, but but really examining for yourself. The reason why it's also important to check in with yourself is because you really need to understand what season you're in, right? So someone said reclaim, which I love. Someone else says opulent. I love that. That's such a like beautiful word as well, right? But I feel like it's like a SAT word or something. But nonetheless, like, you know, the thing is the reason why it's really important to yourself, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about putting in the chat just one word that you would describe for the beginning of this year. So, right, we're like basically halfway through. Because it is important to really take an honest inventory because it's hard. We talk, if you're new to mental health, we talk a lot, of course, about self-care and about your mental wellness, but it's it's like it would be hard to make decisions and it's hard to move into different actions if you don't know what is going on with you. Like, where are you at mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, right? If we're not checking in with ourselves. And so really, if you ask yourself too, like if you check in um, with yourself, asking yourself, what in this first half of the year, maybe like, what is it that's given you more energy? Like, are there things that you have done, experiences that you've had? It could be personal, it could be family, it could be work related, whatever, friends. Like, are there like experiences that you had that you made you really happy, right? And it doesn't have to be anything grand, but if you love, I don't know, gardening, right? Like, and I've talked to a lot of people, they're like, that brought me a lot of joy, right? That gave me a lot of energy. Some people say, I spent time with my grandchildren and they loved it and it lit them up. And it was something that was very exciting to them. You may say, I spent time at the beach because y'all, I live in Florida, so we have beaches everywhere. Maybe you're not around beaches, but maybe it's a river or lake or park or wherever, right? But like maybe it was solo things you did, maybe it was things you did with friends, family members, significant other, whomever. But what is it that gave you more life? What is it that gave you more energy? What is it that really like helped you in your mental health journey, right? That's important to also understand. Someone said determined. I love that. I really, really love that. That's such a great word too, because, or if you're just tuning in, we were talking earlier about putting in your word for how you would describe the first half of the year so far. And when it comes to determined, that's really, really, it's a very important trait to have because it is not easy sometimes, right? Like life gives us life, lives, right? Like there's bumps in the road, and but when you have that spirit of tenacity, when you have that mindset of perseverance, or like you said, like being determined, it can help, partially help in the journey, right? Because I say this like 400 times, y'all. I'm gonna tell the moment, but your mindset is so critically important. It's really, really difficult if you're stuck in a lot of negative self-talk, if you're stuck in like your mind is doing a whole bunch of things, saying a whole bunch of negative things to yourself, doubting yourself, not having trust in whatever it is you want to accomplish. Like it's really hard to move forward a lot of times, right? Not sometimes, oftentimes, we have to do the internal work. We have to be thinking about what is our inner dialogue telling us. We are all telling ourselves stories. Every single person on the planet. If you can hear yourself think, you're telling yourself a story. Now, if it's true, I don't know, right? Because we tend to distort things. We talked about that in another mental health moment, especially when we have strong emotions. We tell ourselves all sorts of things that are not true about ourselves, about situations. Our perception's like way off, right? On things that happen. But the good news is with self-awareness, yay, as a goal, I hope for all of us that we can work on telling ourselves better stories, right? And having better outcomes. Like that would be amazing. Someone said the next half is becoming. Oh, you said the next half. Wait a minute. That's you're skipping ahead. That's my question for later. No, I'm just kidding. It's all good. That's actually so spoiler alert, y'all. That'll be my question to you all for later. And the live is what you want your next half of the year to look like. But it's all good. We will accept that for now. I love the next half is becoming. I do love that. Which I think that was the name. Wasn't that the name of Michelle Obama's book? Let me look. I think it was becoming, because I love that book, and now all of a sudden I'm like, "Wait, was that the name of the book?" Let me look it up real quick. I wanna say it was, um yeah, it was Becoming, okay. I was like, I knew, and I actually read the book, and it was a great book. But I do love, like, what you said, Becoming, because it really talks a lot about transformation, right? It really talks about, it really you can really think about how are you working on transforming your, like you said, the next 6 months of the year, right? Like what steps are you taking? I mean, there's steps that you can take for your goals, obviously important, but also for your mindset. What steps are you taking to work on this, right? To work on what we're saying to ourselves, how we're thinking, working on reducing that self-doubt, working on increasing our self-confidence. Like there's so many parts of ourselves that we need to work on, right? Someone said better but the same grace. I love that. I actually love that. I love that it's better because, there's so many seasons, like, we're just, sometimes we're in better seasons, sometimes we're in not so great seasons. But again, thinking about what we talked about earlier, like, what is it that is giving you energy? And also, if you look back at the first half of this year, what is it that drained you, right? There may be things, situations, people, you know, actions you took that you're like, "Man, I don't wanna do that again," right? That was very draining of your energy. Those things are very telling too. When you ask yourself, again, what is it that fuels you up? What is it that excites you? What is it that gave you hope, inspiration, right? This first half of the year. And also, what was it that really drained you? Where you have to be like, you know what? Let me set up some boundaries. And like I said, it may be a person, it may be a situation, it may be work related, it may be even something in your hobbies that you used to like. You don't like to do it anymore. It drains you now. whatever the case is, it's more about, okay, let me take a look, right? You're what you're doing is you're creating an honest inventory for you. So if you literally start to inventory your life and know these things, because we never take a moment to do this, right? We're just caught up, like we're all busy. But when you slow down and take a moment to think about these things, then you can pause and go, oh, okay, now I know, again, this next half of the year, now I know where to put some boundaries in. Now I know where I need to spend a little bit more time for my joy, right? Now you know what kind of drains you, so those things are really important. But, but it is very true. That's why you have to be thinking about what is it that dims your light? What is it that is draining your energy? Now, let me always put an asterisk on this because I when I speak to different organizations and corporations, and I have people sometimes they're like, well, work drains me. And I'm like, well, hold up, because I'm not telling anyone to quit their jobs right now. I am not telling you to quit your 9 to 5. However, I am saying though to think about what is it that you need to put into place for you. There's certain things, again, you may not be a good idea to just up and quit your job, but you may need to put things in place for your stress management. Sometimes there's situations that you can change, sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's a toxic coworker, for example, that you know what I'm talking about, that individual that you can't change, but maybe you can change your reaction to them, or maybe you can limit your time with them or not. I don't know with the work situation, right? But again, let's be rational here. But it is important aside from that, to really think about what is it that's draining your energy. Um, Someone said multiple surgeries, no one showed up for me. Oh, well, that's sad. Um, I'm sorry to hear that too. Someone said in the chat, I'm sorry to hear that. But the thing is, you know what? So, gosh, I'm glad you brought that up because sometimes, not sometimes, anytime, there's, I'll say situations that we expected to happen, things we wanted to happen that didn't happen. That's life, right? But also sometimes there's people who disappoint us. Like you said, like having multiple surgeries, no one really showing up in the way you wanted them to show up for you. And that is another thing to be taking inventory of. Like sometimes we have to rethink some of the how do I say? Like how much of a priority is how much of a priority this individual or a group of people or whatever it is in your life, right? So if that whomever it was, not telling you to like drop all your friends here, but whomever it was that you felt like, man, I wonder why they didn't show up for me because of all these multiple surgeries, thinking about, okay, do I need to shift my priorities with this said group of people or were they going through a bunch of things? Like it's just important to really again start to take inventory, right? And we're all at different points in our lives, like we're all at different seasons. So you may be in a season where you're like, okay, it's time to shift with less time with family, more time with family, less time with friends, more time with friends. Like those are things that we need to be thinking about, right? Our relationships socially, how are we doing? Coworkers, same thing. But again, keeping that sort of keeping that awareness of where you're at with that. Like, are there certain things that maybe you've been tolerating? You're like, you know what? I need to change that right now. Right. Or do you need to think about maybe I need a more supportive group of people around me, which is huge fan of support, you all. Support comes in many different forms. It's friends, it's family members, it's neighbors, it's someone at a place of worship, it's support groups out there, like wherever, right? There's different groups, maybe things you like to do for fun. There's groups of people that like those things too. All right. But it's like just really thinking about, what is it that you need? Maybe you need more support in your life. Um, Oh, I see. Someone said limited access to me after I was left alone to heal. You're here now, and that's all that matters. I love how you all are like in the comments and just very supportive of each other. I always love to see that, by the way. Okay, so awareness is the first step. So my second tip for the day. Oh, and I did want to say, my son and I actually tried pickleball. When did we try that? I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago or so. It was recently, and yes, I will admit, for the first time in my life, I tried pickleball. I don't know what took me so long. I really don't know. Like, I wasn't opposed to it. I feel like the whole planet, that's all people do now is play pickleball. But anyhow, it was my first time playing and his first time playing. And we absolutely loved it. Like, we totally fell in love with it, and it was just something new. We went out there, tried it. We're like, "Oh, let's try it." We loved it. So I say that to say that sometimes even trying new things, like in communities around you, there's all sorts of pickleball clubs. Not saying you have to do pickleball, but whatever it is that you enjoy, there's billions of people on the planet, and there's probably someone else out there that enjoys the same thing as you as well, right? So again, just like finding safe spaces, finding people to even just be around, like good company, laughter, like there's so many groups that I can think of that I've been involved with the last couple years, like just great people. I'm like, I love you all, like people doing good in the world, people laughing, people that make me laugh. Like just finding those groups are really, really important. Just in general, as an aside, for your mental health. Someone said, learn that it was time to refocus and look inside. Yes, absolutely. Um, and so the second tip I want to remind you of today, and if you're just tuning in, by the way, and you're like, what in the world is going on? We've been talking about our mid-year, I would say, mid-year mental health check-in. And again, if you're watching the replay of this on YouTube and it's like December or something, you're like, what mid-year? It's the end of the year. It's all good. We could always do a check-in. But right now, while this is live, it's literally June and like middle of the year. Um, so so I want you also to remember as you think about, just this reflection back for this first half of the year, to also celebrate your progress because it's very easy, y'all. It's so easy to get caught up in certain goals that we have and we do not celebrate the progress along the way. Right. So let's say your goal was like, I want to lose 20 pounds and you didn't hit the 20 pounds and the time frame you wanted, but you only hit 15 and then you're upset about it. And it's like, well, hold on. Right? Like, can we celebrate the fact that you made progress on your goal? Maybe you didn't hit exactly like on the dot what your goal was exactly in your time frame and maybe you needed a couple more months or whatever the case is, but still let's allow ourselves to celebrate progress along the way, right? Instead of waiting until um I have to hit this goal at this exact time, which sometimes is unrealistic because lives, right? Um, oh, I love that. Someone said, I had difficulty finding a safe space, decided to create it, and it's been amazing. That is so beautiful. That is so very, very, very cool to hear. And you know what? Kudos to you, by the way, the person who said that in the chat, because that also means that you are like, oh, I love people like you because you are taking the initiative to do that. Because you're absolutely right. Sometimes we have to create, listen, if you have to create situations to benefit your mental health, if you have to create situations that you enjoy for your own self-care that will help you in life, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and or mentally, please do that, right? Like that the world will be a better place, right? When you take care of yourself. So I love that. I really, really love to hear that. Someone said, surround yourself with the dreamers and the doers, the ones who see something in you before you see it yourself. That is so beautiful. I love that. Um, that reminds me, yeah, that anyways, there's a lot of people that I totally agree with that sentiment. Because sometimes there's people around you who see great things in you that you can't even see in yourself yet. And those are beautiful people to be around too, because you're like, really? You know what I'm talking about? Those kind of people. Stick with those people. Um, yes, everyone needs a safe space, a village, a community. It changes everything. It absolutely does. The other thing is to really think about too. So going back to like celebrating progress, right? Um, also give yourself credit if you have overcome something in the past 6 months. So again, we're doing a mid-year mental health check-in. If you're just tuning in, hello. Uh, if you overcame something in the past 6 months that was difficult, especially if you thought, man, I don't know how I'm going to get through this situation, fill in the blank, and you overcame that and you're here right now listening to this live or watching this replay, please give yourself credit for that. Right? Like, seriously pat yourself on the back for that because I have heard, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many stories, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of stories from people throughout my career in different, like, different parts of the world, all these different states, like in the US. And I tell you, when I tell you resilience is real, it's so real. But what I also see is that we do not give ourselves enough credit for the things that we've been through, gone through, and gotten through. Like, you're like, "What?" I'm like, "You're on the other side of that? Like, that's amazing." Right? We don't, because what happens is we get caught up in the moment of whatever it is that's happening. We do get through, and then we're like thinking about the next thing. And it's like, well, let's pump our brakes for a second and look back and be like, wait a minute, right? Some way, somehow, and maybe you have the support of others, which is awesome and great. Maybe whatever the journey was, whatever the difficult thing you went through it on your own. Fantastic. Maybe you had the support of others around you. Amazing. Whatever that looked like, the fact that you got through, right? The fact that you had resilience, and even if it wasn't pretty, right? Because not all healing is pretty, not all situations are pretty. You're like, man, I can't believe, like, I barely got through, but you got through, right? Like, the give your like, please find a way to give yourself credit. Please find a way to celebrate yourself, because that is important mentally too, for your brain to understand, you know what, I got through. Like, what is the lesson I learned? I got through this. Let me give myself some credit. That is important. We're I feel like we're in a, like, there's this weird, I don't know. There's this weird thing in society sometimes for us, like, to just gloss over and not give ourselves credit for things, which makes no sense to me, by the way. Makes no sense to me. But we do, like, cuz it's always like, just go to the next thing, but it's like, no, pause and give yourself the credit for getting through these things. Very, very important. Um Someone said, oh, so you're talking to each other. That's beautiful. So again, give yourself credit along the way when you think about this, past, what, 6 months, right? The first half of the year. And also, my question to you, and I know some of you already answered, which is all good. But my question to you also is, what is one word that you would use to describe how you want the next 6 months of this year to go? And again, if you're watching the replay of this and you're like, "What are you talking about? It's January right now." Oh, then still think about the next 6 months. What's one word that you would use to describe how you want that to look, right? So let me know in the chat for those of you who are here live. And there's no right or wrong answers, right? I mean, for some of you, you might be like, okay, this next 6 months, I want to be in a state of healing. Awesome. For these next 6 months, maybe say, I want to be in a state of relaxation. Cool, because I need to recover. Great. Maybe say for the next 6 months, you want the productivity to be high. Like, you got the energy, you got the momentum, and you're like off to the races and whatever it is you're trying to do. Like, there is no right or wrong to this, you all. This is your life. However, what's important, and I have to say this as a burnout prevention specialist, PSA, you need to know what season you're in. I have said that. I feel like I've said this all all year. But you need to know what season you're in, so you know if you're in a space to speed up, or you need to be in a place to slow down your mind and body. Regardless of, even if you're in a season of speeding up, please take the pauses, right? Because we have to reset our nervous systems. We have to work on thinking about getting our mind and body into calmer places. However, again, where's your health physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally? How are you doing? What do you need? Like, making sure you're checking in with yourself before we make some huge decisions here, right? Um, Someone said creating. Ooh, I love that. So someone said the next 6 months for them, the one word they would use is creating. I like that. I really like that. And again, you know, the thing is, you all. So let me tell you a secret about creating. For you creative people out there, when you think about creating, whatever that looks like for you, I promise you, your mental wellness is extremely important. It's very, very tied to your creating whatever you're creating, being a creator, using your creativity. Your mental wellness is important. If you are burnt out, stressed out, overwhelmed, your body shuts down, your brain shuts down, you can't think, concentrate, can't sleep, can't eat. Yeah, right. There's not a whole lot, and I'm speaking for, everyone here listening. There's not a whole lot that's going to be happening when it comes to being creative, right? Or I should say, it wouldn't be your best effort. And I think many of us, I'm going to assume many of us watching this really we want that, right? Like we want our best effort. So again, really thinking about keeping top of mind for all you creators out here and my creative people, really thinking top of mind, not in the back of your head, like, yeah, that self-care stuff, but really thinking top of mind, like, how can I take care of myself through this season? Right. And then you get like some really beautiful results. So I love that. Someone else said momentum. Ooh, I love that. That's so great too. Momentum is such a powerful energy. I love momentum. Like, and y'all, if you all are, so obviously someone said it, when you're in your season of momentum, well, how do I say this? Let me put an asterisk on. Ride the wave, because we're all in different seasons. When we get into that momentum season, we're like, yeah, let's go. It is amazing. And then things happen, life happens, and sometimes we have to take the pause. So ride that momentum wave with self-care. Okay. But know that things happen, right? Someone said kindness is free and happiness is contagious. Yes, it is. I'll live each day as it's my last with gratitude and kindness. Kindness starts with myself. Yes. I love you all like writing in the comments how cool kindness is because it really is. It is free. Happiness is contagious. And yes, kindness is very cool. So I love that. And you guys, first of all, and I see you all in the chat, like even talking within to each other and just being so kind because that is so important. Gosh, that's a whole nother mental health moment. But that is so important. Like the human connection is so, so, so important, which is what we talked about earlier today. Um, and gosh, I had another tip. Okay, I'm gonna leave it for another mental health moment because we're already at like 30 something minutes. I know you all have stuff to do. Plus, I had to start late because the world is, you know, a lot happening. Um, but but I did want to thank you all for, and I'm so glad when I can actually see what's happening in the chat. For goodness sakes, thank you, technology, today for working. Um, I love that you all like all the things that you all shared. I did want to say that. I love that you all support one another in the chat, which is so beautiful. There's so many. Have you guys seen social media? There's so many, there's so many people on social media. I just cringe that like just tear each other down. I'm like, y'all, have you seen like when you go to comments? Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, as an aside, I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but have you seen like in comments, if you ever read comments, sometimes I just go to comments for comedy because people are genuinely really funny and I'm laughing out loud. But sometimes in certain comments on like different posts, like people are just tearing people down. And I'm like, these are complete strangers, like big, huge fights and just horrible things that people say to each other. I'm like, you don't even know. Like, it's like a random people like, I don't yeah, I don't really understand that. So my point is, I share that with you all because when I look at this chat, and I see how supportive you all are to each other, it's just such a beautiful thing. So thank you all for being like, it's like, huh, it's glorious to see that here. Um, so let's see. Someone said, I had emergency surgery. I'm recovering from a lot. For the next 6 months, I'm going to implement my freedom plan. Oh, I like that. Releasing items and simplifying my life to retire. Love it. I am technical and creative. I love that too. I need to find my way to do my South American retirement bucket list. So it's a lot. You know what? That's so cool though. Well, first of all, also I avoid social media. Yeah, phew, it's a lot. It's a lot on there. But first of all, I will say, well, sending you some, healing energy here, of course, with the emergency surgery. Take care of yourself, of course, whatever that was for, like physically take care of yourself, mentally also take care of yourself. I was just reading, oh my gosh, what book was it? I read a lot, so I forgot which book it was. Well, anyways, in one of my books, I was reading, they were talking about this study. Don't quote me because I don't remember how long ago or the study, but I just know the outcome where they did this study. It was a long time ago, and I'm sure they still have studies of that of now. But it was just saying how there were people that were recovering like from surgery, and like different physical things, and the people that were telling themselves like what we now in today's term would call affirmations, right? Like positive things about their healing process were healing faster than the people who didn't say those things. So I was like, yes, I was celebrating when I was reading that in one of my books. So just yeah, it's a reminder to you as you heal in whatever way to have those affirmations, to have those healing affirmations, telling yourself all the positive things, flooding your system. Also, obviously, whatever you need physically, but also mentally too, to help your healing journey. And yes, I hope that you find a way to do your South American retirement bucket list as well. Very cool. Very, very cool. Someone said, "Thank you for this mental health moment. Check-ins are a great way to reflect and drop the weight of the day." They absolutely are. They absolutely are. And well, I will say, I really am wrapping up you all because I'm like way over time today, and I started later. But what I will say about check-ins, the last thing I'll say about check-ins is what I don't want you to do. Well, we talked about what to do with your check-in mid-year, but what I don't want you to ever do, ever, ever, to make a promise is to look back and reflect back at a time period and go into a whole bunch of shame and guilt and self-blame. And I can't believe this didn't happen. I can't believe I did this and why this went wrong and like that, like, yeah, right? Because we do have that option. Sometimes we look back at things, we're like, whoa, like that was a lot. But do your best as much as you can not to go down the self-blame road, and just recognize that maybe there were things you didn't make the right decisions on, but what did you learn from it? Right? Like, how can you be better next time? Instead of going and spiraling down the like self blame, guilt, shame route. Like, we don't want to do that. Yeah. So that's the last thing I'll leave you with. Someone said, because we're enlightened women. I love that. Be blessed, keep moving. Yes. Okay. So I'm wrapping up because I'm way over time today. But I do sincerely appreciate you. Thank you for being here. If you're new to Mental Health Moment, this was your first Mental Health Moment. We are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And if you tune in every single week, well, welcome back once again. And I'll be back next week. Be blessed. Have an amazing week. Again, take the time, maybe even if it's 5-10 minutes this week. Some of you all do that in the chat, which is awesome for you. But maybe, again, just take the time with yourself, check in what, again, the last 6 months of the year, what did it look like for you? The next 6 months, what would you like it to look like for you? And again, always checking on your bandwidth. What is your bandwidth? Where's your mental health and wellness levels? And then guiding your next decisions and action plans. Yeah, someone said rabbit holes can trip someone up. Yes, they can. All right. You guys are amazing. Thank you all again so much for all your comments today and supporting one another. That's like, oh, breath of fresh air. And I'll be back, like I said, next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Be blessed. Have a great week. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.